Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's done. Chelsea have sacked the Italian coach Enzo Maresca from his post as manager at Chelsea Football Club after growing tensions in the last 24 to 48 hours. Fabrizio Romano has basically just confirmed in 20 odd minutes ago at time of recording. Chelsea have agreed to part ways with Enzo Maresca, which of course means he's sacked. I mean, he won't walk because he gets no money. So it's over. Official statement to follow, but it's done, basically. Chelsea are working to appoint a new manager. Of course, this has been a growing story over the last 24 hours that I've been covering here on Football Therapy, bringing you the news, bringing you my reaction, and welcoming your thoughts. As always, this is our club. This is Chelsea Football Club. Welcome to the circus. Roll up, roll up. It will never end. It's a recurring fever dream. It doesn't matter who owns the club. The average tenure of a Chelsea manager is 18 months. And holding true to that, Enzo Maresca has stayed in his post at Chelsea Football Club for about 18 months on the money. But don't worry, mate. I'm here to guide you through this fever dream, and hopefully we'll come out the other side okay. I mean, we still do have good, talented players. We're still a football club in southwest London. You know, Maresca, as much as I liked him, and as much as I'll be consistent in saying, I think this is a mistake. He wasn't perfect. He's never completed a second season in management, still, even now. But, of course, his stock is high, and he is a good coach. We'll speak about it all, guys. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Quick bit of housework. I'm always so happy to bring you my thoughts on Chelsea Football Club, and if you are a returning or indeed new visitor, please consider subscribing to this channel, Football Therapy, liking, hyping the video up. If you do subscribe, hit the bell, and of course this is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Videos also available on Spotify, so go follow, and if you want to help me out, 5-star rating too. Right then. First of all, Maresca will be okay. He recently signed up with Jorge Mendes's agency. He's got new representation, which probably was a bit of a red flag in itself early doors. So he will get a good job, whether he'll take over the Man City job in the summer after Pep Guardiola, which he may well do, by the way. Manchester United apparently are interested in him. If Ruben Amorim he just drew to Wolves, there is feeling. There can't be feeling of certainty with Ruben Amorim at Man United. Of course, he'll get a Champions League job. He could get the Juventus job. His stock is very high after achieving what he did last season. Of course, top 4 finish when he needed a top 5. Conference League, which was par, of course, but to win it in such style in the final against a competent opponent in Real Betis was positive. And no one expected Chelsea to win the Club World Cup, especially when we went into the final against PSG, and no one expected us to batter them. And of course, we've had some high-profile performances in between this season. Of course, probably most notably would be against Arsenal, who are a great team. Even though we were down to 10 men, we outshot them, and we were the better team with a man down. And of course, beating Barcelona 3-0 was a lovely moment. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. He's had his problems, and ultimately it's a place of work, and it needs to be harmonious. There'll be some Chelsea fans that are delighted with this because they'll feel certain players are regressing or they're getting frustrated and with performances, and perhaps Maresca hasn't helped himself. This shouldn't come as a massive shock to us because this is what we learned from his time at Leicester. It was only 1 year, and he won the title in the Championship. But we did hear about there was this side to him that doesn't necessarily think he's just going to be a yes man. And when and then obviously he signed to Chelsea, where this hierarchy, this project is looking for the ultimate yes man, really, because they need that, because they need to understand. And again, to reiterate what I said earlier, Simon Johnson of The Athletic would have said he knows what he knew what he was signing up for. In a way, it's kind of frustrating because I want to keep Maresca. I think he's good, and I think he'll get better. I think that's probably the most pertinent point, that he's, despite being, he's not as young as Hertzler, the Brighton manager. He's over like a decade older, but he's still green as a coach, and I think he'll get better. So I think we're losing a good coach that will get better and is a bit of a master tactician, which is quite Chelsea. We've enjoyed master tacticians like Tuchel, Conte, and Mourinho. Like I said, Ancelotti was more of a Galactico whisperer. But, like, I think he did fit. Maybe he didn't fit this new Chelsea, this new ownership, this new hierarchy, this new sporting model, but I thought he fit Chelsea. Now, of course, the Chelsea fans only on 2 occasions have sung his name, but one was, like, quite recently, and I know he's going through a rough patch, but I did feel like he was quite a good fit. And in the world, I don't think Pochettino fit Chelsea, and not because of the Spurs thing. I think he's meant to be, like, a great man and a great character, but I didn't feel like he fit Chelsea as a coach. I think we can all shake hands firmly on Graham Potter not being an appropriate fit for Chelsea Football Club. But for me personally, and of course football is a game of opinions, I feel Enzo Maresca fits Chelsea as a coach in terms of a character, his ability. He had a rough side, an abrasive side. He was intelligent, he was like multilingual, and I think he was getting better. Obviously, the worst thing that can happen here is he goes to Man City and wins a couple of Premier League titles. That would be the worst thing. Now, I wonder if he'll have any interest in returning to... Because he's fluent in Spanish, like completely fluent, I wonder if, I said this before, I wonder if Simeone finally leaves Atletico Madrid. He's recently made noises about one day wanting to manage Inter. If he finally leaves Atletico Madrid, I think that is a perfect job for Maresca, and I reckon they'd hire him. They'd be like, oh, that guy did really well with Chelsea last season. I'm not saying Simeone is about to leave, but this is a theoretical exercise. Oh, that guy that did well with Chelsea and battered PSG last season in a difficult, project at Chelsea. Yes, you're afforded loads of wicked young talent, but it's pretty tough, man. You have to deal with the players that are given to you. Excuse me. And often they're children. So it is a tough job. And, obviously it's at Atletico Madrid, you'll get good players and, whatever. I'm just using that as a theoretical thought exercise. Juventus, Atletico Madrid, one of the Milan clubs, do you know what I mean? Possibly a Napoli. He can get these big Italian jobs, these big Spanish jobs. I doubt Barcelona or Real Madrid will come in for him. But still, just the tier below those two sort of things. Do you know what I mean? And despite him speaking very serviceable French, I don't see him getting the PSG job. So maybe not PSG, Barcelona, or Real Madrid, but like any other, European Champions League title contender. I don't think he speaks German. It's the one language I don't think he speaks, so he probably wouldn't get Bayern. He probably would get the Bayern job if they're, giving it to Vince and company. But, yeah, he'll get a great job. I just feel a little bit fearful that it will be in the Premier League and he will be a good Premier League manager that's not coaching Chelsea. And not just that, a good Premier League manager that knows all about the Chelsea players and their weaknesses. So if he does go manage Man City next season, he'll know all about, right, Caicedo's weak this, Fernandes can't do this, we'll take full advantage, and 2 matches a season against our rivals, I'll have a major edge over them. And it's not just that edge as well, it's, if he does go to Man United, he'll just make Man United better than Ruben Amorim's made them. Do you know what I mean? So, I'll do a couple more minutes on Maresca and then we'll speak about, future candidates for Chelsea. I feel sad about it. I'm bummed, man. Like, at the end of Pochettino's era, I was willing to, right, let's go again, because we did scrape into the top 6, and Cole Palmer did really well. Do you know what I mean? That was it. But the truth is, the defence was harrowing, and it didn't really feel like a proper Chelsea setup. So when he left, I was like, yeah, fair enough. When Potter left, I was shocked, because it was a few months in, and they gave him a 5-year deal, and they were like, yeah, but this is the guy, the long-term guy. Do you know what I mean? But I was relieved. All because, Potter was just... it was shocking. Sorry, I've got, the post-beer sniffles. Because, not like that. Basically, I'm poorly after drinking beers. I was on a cleanse. Obviously, New Year's Eve. I actually went home and went to bed before midnight. But because I had day beers, it's just sort of run me down again. I'm such a wuss these days, man. I need 3 months of just clean eating, working out, and building my immune system back up. Anyway, yeah, I was shocked. I wasn't sad, disappointed, or angry when Graham Potter was was sacked, but I was certainly very surprised. And when it sort of came out of nowhere, and obviously the Lampard interim thing didn't work, but it was an absolute, again, speaking of circus, that Chelsea squad, the composition, the fact how, lads were getting changed in the corridor because there was no space for them in the dressing room. Half of them didn't want to be there. Half of them had, 1 foot out the door. It was a joke and it was peculiar. That's not the case now. Everyone in that Chelsea dressing room is like locked in. Do you know what I mean? So as much as I think there needs to be a lot of deserved criticism over the sporting directors, who, by the way, could walk today and I would not shed a tear for them. Let that be known. At least you could say there's this stability in the dressing room so that someone can come in and they're like a togetherness. There's not too many players. It's not like they don't know each other. There's a team spirit. I do hope we keep Willie Issa. Now I don't think he's part of Maresca's coaching staff, because usually they take all their coaching staff with them, don't they? I think Willie Issa is a club appointment. So obviously you're Winstanley, Stewart, Shields, all them man. What's his name? Sam Jewell. Them, I just forget, the whole freaking posse of recruitment people, they'll all stay. I hope Willie Issa stays, because he's seemingly, cultivated a team spirit in the Chelsea dressing room, being led by the likes of Reece James and Enzo Fernandez, showing leadership on the pitch. So hopefully that all stays. So that is what is different this time around. Potter left mid-season. He was on a 5-year deal. It wasn't like Pochettino. Maresca is leaving mid-season. He was on a 5+1 year deal. So there is huge parallels here between the sacking of Enzo Maresca and Graham Potter. They were Chelsea's long-term project guys. And they, Maresca got an extra year than Potter did, which is a step in the right direction, I suppose. And he won a couple of trophies, which is definitely a step in the right direction. There are parallels there, but what the difference is, the Potter sacking, the dressing room was an absolute chaotic sugar show, if you know what I mean. Whereas now, there's this continuity and relatively well-built squad, but of course, we will all agree, I'm sure, that there's a few gaping holes that have made Enzo Maresca's job kind of harder. Do you know what I mean? So there is that as well. So Maresca's gone. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Do you think this will bite us on the behind? Will he go to a Premier League rival? And will he do well and win for Man City / Man United? Who else could hire him? I mean, he's going to, make no bones about it, mate. He's going to get a high-profile job. I say Champions League job. If he goes to Man United, that is very much not a Champions League club. Although, they've got no Europe, they've got no League Cup. They are plenty of time to work with the players, even though it hasn't really served Ruben Amorim very well. So, let's have a look, shall we? Chelsea next manager odds. Let's see what the silly websites are doing and saying, because Maresca is gone. And what's a surprise, Liam Rosenior tops the tree at 1-2. You've got the likes... I said this before, I like Liam Rosenior. He even managed Liam Delap at Hull. And the Chelsea sporting directors will be very disappointed that they haven't got any juice out of Liam Delap yet. So they might be thinking, ooh, and that is not... Listen to me. That is not a reason to hire a new Chelsea manager because you're £30 million, which sounds like a lot, but I mean that as a cheap, because your cheap striker's not doing well. That is not a reason to hire a certain manager. Now, Rosenior is a really well-spoken, well-thought-of, good guy, yeah? I've heard him talk a bunch of times. He's a really good dude, yeah? And he's emotionally intelligent and an up-and-coming young coach. He's a bit younger than Enzo Maresca, yeah, a little bit younger. He is 41, so he's 4 years younger. Or 5, I don't know if Maresca turned 46, however old he is. He's a few years younger. And he's doing well at Strasbourg. Now, I think it would be silly for his development as a coach to take him away because they're top of the Conference League table. I think Strasbourg have a genuine, real chance of winning the Europa Conference League, which would qualify Strasbourg for the Europa League, of course, because I think that's probably, they've got a better chance of doing that than in the league at the moment. I think Rosenior should stay there. I don't think it would serve him coming to this Chelsea mid-season to try and pick us up and just suddenly Oh, you got to manage Man City and you're playing Arsenal in the semi-final and, oh yeah, we're in the Champions League. I don't think that's going to help anyone. And the Strasbourg fans might finally lose their minds and like burn everything down if we do that. So he's the favourite. It could definitely happen. Obviously, for obvious reasons, because he's already in the setup. He's their boy. So the second favourite is Oliver Glasner. Now, Oliver Glasner is the Crystal Palace manager. He's actually out of contract in the summer. So to buy him out of his Crystal Palace contract would cost nothing, or very, very little indeed. The compensation would be very, very small. Unless we get like an interim in for 6 months and we wait after the World Cup. Because, a lot of people are talking about Nagelsmann with the German national team, if we can wait till the summer, wait till after the World Cup. If it wasn't this particular ownership, if it was a different club, you could say, oh, Thomas Tuchel might not stay in England past the summer. Obviously, Thomas Tuchel is not going to manage Chelsea ever again under this ownership. So, he's not. Oddly, Xavi's a really high ranking. He was the favourite for a while. On this particular comparison, he's dropped down to... Basically, it goes like this. The ranking's like this on what I'm looking at. And again, everything could change. It's Chelsea Football Club. Liam Rosenior, heavy favourite. Second favourite, Ollie Glasner. Of course, he plays a back three system. We've seen success with that before at Chelsea. Last time we won the Premier League, we played a back three. I've said this on different YouTube channels, I don't think a back three system can win you the Premier League in the current climate / landscape of the Premier League. I think you can do well, but look at Amorim. Although Amorim's a whole unique case. Although maybe he wouldn't play a back three at Chelsea because he's got better players. I don't know. He's obviously a really good manager, Glasner. He's won the Europa League with Frankfurt. He won the FA Cup with Crystal Palace. Overachieving with the smaller clubs. What could he do at Chelsea? But then again, this is what happens. It's like a Thomas Frank, isn't it? Tottenham or Graham Potter at Chelsea. It doesn't always scale up appropriately. Honestly, Ollie Glasner doesn't necessarily turn me on too much, so I'm not massively into it. And Done Iraola is in there. Cesc Fabregas is in there, but he's part ownership of Como. Someone reminded me in the comments, he's really invested in the project of Como. He went up with them. He got the main manager job. He's in like the top 6 in Serie A, which is an amazing achievement. He's got such a good thing going there, Cesc. He'd be very, very mindful to ruin it. But then again, can you turn down the Chelsea job? Frank Lampard had a really good thing going at Derby. Obviously, got them to the playoff final, and they wanted to go again, but he just said to Mel Morris, the owner, like, it's Chelsea, mate. Obviously, I have to go. Lampard's obviously... Well, I say Lampard's linked to Chelsea, so is Cesc Fabregas. He might not be our greatest ever player like Lampard, but I tell you what, he's in the pantheon of great Chelsea players, Fabregas. Even though he's a part owner in Como and he's really woven into the club there, he might think, yeah, but Chelsea Football Club are offering me a job. You just can't say no. You literally, no matter how many people, there'll be pundits and hosts and TalkSport and content creators and, people on social media going, oh, he'll be a fool to go to Chelsea. He's got such a good thing going at Como. We'd be a fool to go to Chelsea right now. Yeah, everyone could say that, but ultimately you don't know how long you're going to be a manager for and how long it's going to work. And if Chelsea call you and say, do you want to be the Chelsea manager? He will say, yes, please. And he'll take the job, get paid loads of money, and he'll manage the likes of Cole Palmer. And, he'll manage Steval, and he'll get, what a better... You won't find a better coach for Enzo Fernandez than Cesc Fabregas in terms of turning him into that passing midfielder that we know he probably can be. And Xavi, of course, don't think he's coached since he got thrown under the bus a little bit at Barcelona. Sebastian Hoeneß is in there as well, interestingly. And of course, Roberto De Zerbi. Now we know public enemy number 1, which of course is Bedadig Bali at the moment for Chelsea fans. He's a huge fan of the once Brighton, of course, and now Marseille manager Robert De Zerbi. It's Roberto De Zerbi, isn't it? But, they started like they could win the league, but they've dropped off. Again, blowing my mind, Lens are top of the league. They're only 4 points behind second Marseille, and of course second is PSG. So they're doing well, and he's a good attacking manager. But yeah, I mean, John Terry's 25-1 in there. Unai Emery's in there. Excuse me, he ain't leaving Villa. He's got a good thing going. Yeah, Unai Emery is complete control. Like, these kind of coaches, they're not going to work under this current hierarchy with their, their demands. Be very interesting. I mean, Andoni Iraola as well. Like, I know we just drew 2-2 with him, and he is a good coach. But, like, they're winless in 10, and he has got... I'm sorry, even though they lost loads of the defenders from last season, he's still got loads of good decent players at Bournemouth, and they're winless in 10. Is that a coach you want to pick up and throw in? There was like the out-of-form derby that, of course, we both drew, Chelsea and Bournemouth being Maresca's last game. Do you want to bring in the guy who's winless in 10? So, let's be honest. Who are the real favourites? Rosinia, Strasbourg, Glasner, Palace, Fabregas, Como, Roberto, Antonio Conte is 25-1. Now, that is very interesting. Because, of course, Conte left Chelsea because he fell out with Marina Granovskaya and didn't like how it went with Roman. But, of course, he wanted more control, so it's never going to work with the new owners, is it? Obviously not. He's never going to do that. So it's going to be probably Fabregas. It was going to be Rosinia, probably. Possibly Glasner, Fabregas, Roberto, De Zerbi. Mental. It's a crazy world out there, guys. But it's done. One day, you're celebrating, and the next, the manager's gone. What a crazy football club. At least I've got stuff to talk about, I suppose. Hopefully we can win football matches, score lots of goals, and lift more trophies no matter what. Chelsea, regardless. Managers and players will come and go. Owners will come and go. But we, together, as a unit, as a prideful fan base, as a tribe, will forever remain Chelsea. From the lineage of our grandfathers and their fathers, passing it on to our sons and daughters, we will forever keep the blue flag flying high. Oh, I'm so sleep deprived. Right! What's going to happen? Find out next video. I'll probably be uploading all the ruddy time in the next few days until I pass out. Keep it locked. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for liking this video. Thank you for subscribing, hitting the bell, hyping up the video, commenting, sharing, going over to Spotify, making sure you're following, and giving me that sweet 5-star review. Thank you for sticking with me, guys. I will, of course, forever stick with you. Take care. Peace.